Hello everybody, and welcome back to In The Crosshairs, your definitive source for sports betting content and in-game analysis. I am your host for this beautiful Tuesday, Amanda Tennant, and I am here with our team of expert sports analysts to give you the absolute best in sports betting to help you bet smarter and win bigger. And for our team today, we have our usual Tuesday crew, starting with America's sports bettor, Joey Knish. Knish, how are you? Are you ready to talk some college football today?
What's that, little CFB? Ready to go here on a Tuesday? Good to see you. We'll be ready to hopefully make some money here for coming up for the weekend.
Yes, definitely. Well, joining Knish to talk about a little bit of football, but on the NFL side, we've got Sam Dusenberry from across the Hudson. Sam, how you feeling today, buddy?
Man, I'm good. It's time to get this money. Let's get to it.
And it wouldn't be a Tuesday without the professor of sports betting, Red Dave, here to cover the NBA playoffs. Daves, how are you doing today? You ready to talk some sports?
Doing well. Going to brush off that hangover from NFL weekend and get back into it with some good basketball for you.
All right, well, let's get started. Glad to have you all here. We're going to cover all those sports, get your best bets, and play a little sports betting game we've cooked up for you guys. A lot going on this show, so let's get into it. And if you need any of this episode or just need some more of the best sports betting coverage around, check out our YouTube channel at Line Sniper HQ. Everything from best bets to betting tutorials, we have everything you need to up your betting game right there. But okay, it is time to get started, and we are still feeling that football hype after the weekend. And we're going to jump right into the football season and talk some college ball. And of course, as I mentioned moments ago, taking us back to school and giving us the NCAA rundown is our man, Joey Knish. Joey, how was your weekend? I know your Cowboys lost, but I'm sure you can blame Andy Molitor for that next time you see him. How are you?
I'm good. NFL, not so good. College ball was good to me, though, and that's what we'll be talking about. My baby here, a little college football weekend. Yeah, my Cowboys here choked away. It was offensive pass interference there that we got the bad flag, but no, I'm good to get into a little bit of college ball with you here.
Well, Joey, we don't have time to talk about the NFL quite yet. We've got some college football on the menu for you, and let's start with the games we had this weekend. Tons of stuff here, and Knish, you've mentioned before on this show, it's really hard to know about these teams and players until you actually see them in action and see them play as a team. Well, tell us what you saw this weekend. Any teams or players you're favoring now? Anyone have a rough week that makes you hesitant to bet on them? Give us the scoop from the big weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll touch, on early Heisman race a little bit. I thought Mikhail Cunningham from Louisville looked like the goods. He was around there, 100-1 before the season. That's dipped down now, right around 50-1, 40-1. Their offense looked legit. It's a Western Kentucky defense that may not get a lot of name value, but it's a good unit. They put up 35. He looked fantastic throwing the ball, little running action. They don't play Clemson this season. He's going to be a guy that's going to put up numbers all year. So he's a good look. I would say, though, the chalk right now, Sam Ehlinger over in Texas, I know it was UTEP, but, he put up 435 touches, looked everything that people thought he'd be preseason. Texas, a real national title contender. So those would be the two that, I'd be looking to early. If you haven't got in yet as far as Heisman-wise, chop around for the best number and find them. But, it was a nice opening weekend. Exciting, and happy to get into it. We finally got off to our big Power 5 college football going on, and we'll keep it going this weekend.
I do agree that the Longhorns looked incredible over this weekend. Ehlinger throwing for nearly 450 yards, multiple guys rushing for over 40 yards, receiving for over 100. Texas is absolutely looking like a beast in the Big 12. And Knish, you've been giving us your takes on the different divisions and conferences across the NCAA for a couple weeks now. I know in your futures market you flagged UNC to win the ACC and Oklahoma State to win the Big 12. But Knish, tell us your thoughts on the Big 10. What is going on with this season? And then past the decision, is there anything you like? Any teams you would avoid? Run us through it.
Well, so supposedly, we've heard it, day after day after day after day. They're going to vote, they're going to not vote, they're going to vote. Supposedly, it leaked earlier that they're going to vote, and we're thinking the season's happening early as late October. So I'll keep my fingers crossed here. We're in the Midwest town over here that will actually get some Big Ten football. I would say I'm optimistic at the moment that it is going to some type of shortened season is going to happen. As far as the conference, Ohio State's still the chalk. I mean, it's hard to see anybody coming out that's not Ohio State, especially out of the East Division. They're still loaded. A couple of the other teams, Michigan, Penn State, already had some key guys declare for the draft already and looking like that they're going to skip the season. They just don't have the same depth as, a team that's been recruiting insane over the years like Ohio State. I would say, though, that if we're looking at the West, that's much more wide open. You've got Nebraska on the come up. You've got Wisconsin still in the mainstay. Minnesota's on the come up. It would be a little bit more of a wide open as to who can get into that Big Ten championship from the West and challenge Ohio State. As far as a fade team, and this isn't because I'm a Michigan homer here, but I think Michigan State's really going to struggle. Lost a ton of talent off the defense last year. Mark D'Antonio's gone, new coaching staff. They've missed a lot of spring practice with some COVID stuff going around. I just don't think the roster is very good. I played them, under regular season wins early. I'll probably be looking for an updated just conference number when the schedule comes out to be fading them. So for me, Ohio State's still the chalk. There's really nobody that I think can give them a handle from either division. I'll be looking for some value in the West once we get some official futures numbers there. And a fade for me, get Sparty out of here. Michigan State's not going to be nothing this year.
Well, as a Michigan grad, this hits close to home. All right, we're crossing off these conferences for you left and right here, Knish. Can't wait to get your hot takes on that huge Mountain West Conference title. And Knish, while we're talking college football here, let's look at the week ahead. What are the games you have your eye on? What are the lines you're watching closely? What's the smart money going this week in the NCAA?
Well, it would have been, if we were doing this show, 2 or 3 hours ago, it would have been, when we were going over the script and stuff last night, Houston is sitting there at +7.5, +6.5 versus Baylor. That's all the way down to +3. So that was going to be a nice one to give out on the show there. But the early market took that down for us. So now that's 3. That'd be a pass for me. One I'm looking at, one of the premium matchups, is Louisville Miami. I'm going to wait and sit and hope that there's a little bit of buyback on Miami. Be looking for Louisville pick, Louisville -1. Again, as we said in the the opening segment there, I like what they have going on offense. I think Miami's a little overvalued. They looked very, very sluggish early in their first game. They lost their starting running back to an injury. I think the defense is average at best. Lost a ton of talent from last year. I think Louisville gets them at home. I think they're going to knock off Miami there. But I'm going to wait. It's 2.5, 3 in the market right now. Wait until Saturday, see if there's some Miami buyback, which I think there'll be a little bit of, and then I'll be trying to get Louisville money line right around -110, -120 in that range. That's going to be a buy for me. So as far as favorite picks of the weekend, wait on Louisville. If you've got an old Houston number, I would jump on that, but it's a stay away for me at +3. And we'll see, as we hopefully Thursday shows, we get to the market a little bit crisper in that. We'll jump on a couple of more.
Yeah, as we checked earlier today, the line was currently sitting at +3 for Houston with a price of -110, so there's still plenty of money to be made here. Well, thank you for that, Knish. We are going to stick with some football as we switch topics here, but you get to sit back and relax, and we'll see you later on in the show, Joey. For now, we are going to see what's going on in the NFL. We are going to welcome back Sam Dusenberry to the show. Sam, how did the NFL weekend treat you? Who were you rooting for?
Oh, Amanda, I'm definitely not a fan of any team. Fandom is a mental illness, but I was able to make some money on the former team of my childhood, the Chicago Bears. It came through, Mazda Miata, Mitch Trubisky was able to get it done in the fourth quarter with 3 touchdowns. So we made some money that way. So all in all, it was a good week 1.
That is what we like to hear. Well, Sam, we have a whole week's worth of NFL to talk about, and we want to get you in the zone and get you riled up. So here we have a clip from our friends over at ESPN's First Take. We're going to talk about some Browns and Bengals action today, and we're going to open up with Ryan Clark's take on Baker Mayfield. Sam, you ready?
Sure, let's get to it.
All right, let's do it. Roll that clip.
From now on, we need to look at Baker Mayfield in a different way. See, what we were looking at him as was the Heisman Trophy winner and the first overall pick. Let's stop that. Let's look at him as the guy who had to walk on to 2 different teams in college. The guy who wasn't good enough to play at Texas Tech, so he went to Oklahoma as a walk-on and earned his way. Maybe if we start seeing him there, if we start seeing him from the bottom level of his talent, we can now appreciate the things that he did well. We can appreciate the times that he did excel, the times that he was successful, because we have to now realize that he's not that talented.
Wow, I'm glad somebody was able to say it. Looking at that four-letter network show, you look at the two co-hosts of that show. We got one guy who refuses to own up that he was wrong about Colin Kaepernick, and then we got the other host that picked Andre Iguodala to be more clutch at shooting threes than Steph Curry. So I'm glad that Ryan Clark was able to make amends and fall back from all the slurping that was going on for Baker Mayfield. He has not done anything. He has not lived up, not even to being a number one pick. He hasn't lived up to being the top 10, top 15, top 20, damn near a first round QB. He's been handed the keys and he has profitably crashed his car. He already got one coach out of there. He already got one system out of there. Now he's on the way to running a second one into the ground. So the Browns are in trouble, and it's thanks to Baker Mayfield. I'm glad Ryan Clark has the cojones, has the acumen to take the L and say, hey, I was wrong. We need to reassess this. I wish the two co-hosts on that four-letter network show would do the same.
When guys come in with a lot of hype, especially the kind of hype that comes with a number one draft pick, there's going to be a ton expected of you. And as soon as you don't meet those expectations, people are going to lose faith in you real fast. And Sam, let's keep this going into this week's edition of Thursday Night Football. Now we have the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals in a little battle for Ohio action. Both of these teams sort of had a pretty rough start to the season in the first week of games. But this week, they are meeting at the First Energy Stadium in Cleveland. Sam, who do you like this week?
I'm going to have to go with the Browns. I'm going to give the Browns as an organization one more chance. I'm not giving Baker one more chance, but I think the value there at -5.5 as the home favorite, I think you take that. So I'm going to ride with the Browns and the Bengals. The Bengals have a rookie QB, again, another new system. They're trying to rechange everything. They're trying to blow it all up and rebuild anew with Joe Burrow. And that didn't work out so well last week. I mean, you could talk about the A.J. Green push-off. We could talk about that another time. But the Bengals are always going to Bengal. So when it comes to this Thursday night game, I like the Browns here. If they don't do this, if they don't get a dub this Thursday, you could make the case that they could go over until their bye week in week 9. So if there's ever a must win in week 2 of the NFL, Amanda, it's looking like this Thursday. Browns, Bengals, -5.5. The Browns have to and need to get this W.
So after all that Mayfield hate, Sam, you are still taking the Browns under 5.5 against the Bengals. Not a fan of mixed in madness, I see. But Sam, we're going to stick to the Browns here. Now, this is a team with a lot of hype and a lot of talent. What are your overall thoughts on the Browns this season? They've got Baker, they have OBJ, Nick Chubb. Is this the year of Cleveland? I have a feeling I already know your answer, but go ahead and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this team, they were, the Bucs had it at 8.5 for total wins this season. And yeah, me and a few of the homies, we smashed that under because, there's no way with Baker Mayfield showing us what he has done last year and already in week 1 this year, running for his life against the Ravens. I don't have any faith in it. I got faith in Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is a beast. He's a monster. But you can't run him 40 to 50 times a game. They're going to have to rely at some point in Baker Mayfield being able to get it done. And this isn't college. You're not going to be able to take a flag and wave it around and slam it into the 50-yard line. You can't do that here. You're going to have to hit the throws. He overthrew Juice Landry a few times. He threw behind OBJ a few times. Luckily, Njoku saved him a few times. So Baker Mayfield is under pressure and under the gun. 8.5 wins, I can't see it. Smash that under. You look at that schedule. I mentioned they have not a lot of winnable games on paper. There's no easy wins here. I mean, they might be able to get something against Joey's Cowboys, but I don't know. Outside of that first 8 weeks, there's not a lot of automatic W's on this schedule. So 8.5, I think, is way too much. I think that's free money from the books. Take the under.
Hey guys, remind me not to take Sam to Cleveland anytime soon. I don't think the fans there are going to like Sam's
Don't wanna
opinion
go.
on the Browns. But thank you for your take, Sam. Always happy to have a little bit of fire in the NFL. Well, all right. A little bit of everything in the world of football this week. Some college, some NFL, and we will have even more coverage of this weekend's games and player props on this Thursday's edition of In The Crosshairs. Sam, thank you for joining us. But we're going to take a little break from football for now because we still have to cover basketball. Yes, the NBA playoffs are still ongoing, and somehow the second round isn't over. And the Clippers Nuggets are all tied up. Denver having fought all the way back from a 1-3 series. So we have some basketball to talk about. And we're going to bring in Red Dave to take a look at the bracket as it stands now. Red Dave, are you shocked the Nuggets are still in this?
I am. I initially liked the Nuggets getting like +9 out the gate, and I just kind of got decimated. But Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and the rest of the game are making 1 and 3 look like the new 3 and 1. So the last series they came back from 1-3, they came back from 1-3 to a tie series here. So it's really tough for me to go against the grain here, to go against the momentum. But I kind of do like the Clippers -7, maybe even 7.5 here. It makes me cringe. It goes against all of my humanity. But I think the Nuggets are going to have a serious challenge here. They played Jamal Murray like 40-plus minutes the past series and some of the Utah series. Jokic has played 40 minutes quite a bit. They're going to rely on huge minutes from those guys. It's going to rely on Michael Porter Jr. stepping up big. It's going to take a lot for them here. I think if their legs are fresh, they got a real shot to get this. But if they are relying on shooting 48% from 3 and 44% like they have in the past 2 games, it's going to be tough without fresh legs. So I think the public and popular play is going to be to take the points here, but I'm going to stick with the Clippers -7.5 and be a curmudgeon.
It has been a long journey for the Clippers to beat the Nuggets, and I think pretty much everyone had the Clippers to put the Nuggets away last week. But tonight has to be the night, and Red Dave says it will be the Clippers winning in Game 7. And then on the other side of the bracket, we have Game 1 tonight. The Heat, who won their series 4-1 over the Bucks, versus the Boston Celtics, coming off Game 7 against the Raptors. Who do you like tonight in Game 1? And do you see any money to be made across the series line?
Yeah, I really like betting Game 1 of each series because I think certain teams are really good at adapting to matchups. Like in the last series, the Lakers beat the Rockets. The Rockets just won easily Game 1. And then the line moved way in their favor and then just got absolutely demolished by adjustments. So we're going to have to look at Game 1 and see who's going to be the coach that makes the right adjustments. And as it stands right now, the Heat are +2. And what I like about the Heat so far is I really like the roster they put together after the trade deadline. They've got Crowder, who's going to be a really good defender of Jason Tatum. A lot of their young guys like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero have really stepped it up. Jimmy Butler's playing like the player I've always hoped he would be. And their bench is playing terrific too. Like in the regular season, Boston has always been one of the better bench teams. But in the playoffs, you really need to have kind of really good firepower from your starters too. So without Hayward, I think – they need to get Hayward back soon. But in the meantime, I think Miami has a real good chance here to take this series. They made the Bucks look foolish, so they have a lot going for them. I think 2 points here is just the right play. I think they're just maybe a little bit better of a team right now.
Well, we were talking here in the studio before the show, and I think the general consensus about this series is that it will be tight. I know some of us are favoring the Heat a little bit, which Red Dave says, yeah, a slight lean towards the Heat is the right move. So don't bet the house on it, but we do like the Heat here tonight. And lastly, Dave, we've got our games tonight. You gave us the winners. Now let's take a look at the players you like tonight. Who's going to overperform? Who's going to have a rough night? Most importantly, who is going to make us some money? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so if you watch the last couple of games from the Toronto and Boston series, both teams really played a ton of minutes for their starters. Like Kemba was a guy who came into the bubble as kind of like a minutes restricted guy, Kemba Walker. The last game he played like 44 minutes, and the game before he played 52 in like double overtime game. I think even though they've had 3 full days of rest, Brad Stevens might take a little bit easier on him. They do have Marcus Smart. They do have Wanamaker that can play some 1. So I think his minutes may be in like the 35 to 36 minute range here, as opposed to maybe like 40 that you might see later in the series. So and for that reason, I'd like to play him under 20.5 points, minus 125. And not only do I think his minutes will be low, I think he's gone from kind of a number 2 or number 3 guy in the offense to maybe 3, number 4. Marcus Smart's been doing a lot more. Jaylen Brown's been playing like a clear number 2 guy. So I think Kemba might just kind of get an easier night tonight. So just play the under 20.5. And then over to the final game, the Nuggets and the Clippers. I really like Millsap to go under 15.5 points, rebounds, assists. The main thing I look at with props is the guy going to finish the game? Is he going to go into overtime if it goes OT? And I don't think Millsap is going to close the game over, let's say, Michael Porter Jr., Jeremy Grant, even Monte Morris or Torrey Craig. I think Millsap's going to be a guy that if he plays poorly early in the game, you will not see any of him for the fourth quarter or late third quarter. I think he's got to really play his butt off to get minutes tonight. And if he doesn't, if anything goes wrong for him, he's going to be toast on those minutes. So, yeah, Millsap under 15.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 115. That's all I got for NBA right now.
We'll have our eyes on Millsaps and Walker tonight in the NBA playoffs. So those are the players Dave says you should be watching. And there you have it, you guys. A complete rundown of tonight's NBA games. Red Dave giving us the scoop on what's going on there. Well, thank you for that, Dave. I think it's time we bring back the other two boys. Wake up Sam and Knish from their nap. Knish, Sam, Red Dave, now that we have you all here, we of course want to get your best bets of the day, but first we have a little game for you guys. We're going to test your betting acumen and see how well you guys know your lines. What game are we playing? George, play that graphic. Yeah, we're going to try a little bit of a Price is Right style game with you guys, and here is how it's going to work. I'll give you guys a bet without a line. All you have to do is guess where the line is currently sitting at. Closest to the actual price wins. That simple. And just to make this a bit simpler, we are getting all of our prices from DraftKings, so we don't have a bunch of different prices to worry about. All right, let's get started with one. Just jump into this. We're just gonna go with an easy one for you guys, a nice little NFL futures. The Tom Brady-led Bucks to win the Super Bowl. Now, this line did move after their loss to the Saints, but not by too much. So where do we think this line is currently sitting? Knish, why don't you start us off? What's the price on this bet?
All right. First, before this game, I know it was down around 10 to 1, 12 to 1. People were all drunk on the Bucks Kool-Aid of after week 1. And Tommy didn't look too good in week 1, but I still don't think you're going to see a huge change in the market there. There's just too much Bucks liability. I think they were 12 to 1 before the loss. I'll say 15 to 1.
All right, Knish says 15 to 1 while the guys put that price in. Sam, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I'm a little on the same lines as Knish there. There's somewhere I'll split the difference. I think I'll go around 13 to 1. I think it's definitely elevated from week 1. It was not a good performance from the Bucks. Leonard Fournette wasn't used enough, and Brady looked like a guy that eats avocado ice cream. So yeah, I'll go 13.5 to 1.
All right, and Red Dave, you get last pick on this one. Where are you setting your line at?
Yeah, I agree with Sam. They got to start using Fournette more. But I do like a lot of things from the Buccaneers I saw yesterday. I think they'll step it up. I'm looking to bet at plus 2,000. I think it's a little bit too optimistic that we see that, but I would love to see it at that line.
All right, and we have all of our bets in, so let's go ahead and see the actual price on this bet according to DraftKings.
Oh, Knish.
So, plus
there it is.
1,600.
Manda, I think
How
that's
does he
what
know?
would you say? You give me 1,000 if I won that? No, cash, check, Bitcoin, I'll take it all. Whatever works for you on that one. So, that works for me.
We'll be sure to send that over to you. But okay, let's jump to the next bet here, and we're going to talk about a little bit of baseball. Haven't gotten to talk about that yet today, and we're going to look at the money line in a game later tonight. We have the number 1 and 2 in the NL West, the Dodgers facing off against the Padres. Now, we want to see the Dodgers to win against the Papas tonight, so money line Dodgers over Padres. Let's see where you guys are with this price. Sam, you're going first this time. Give us your number.
Oh, that's tough. So the Padres have been red hot thanks to Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado, but I think the Dodgers still the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers will be favored I'll go a little minus 125 here. Dodgers to beat the Padres.
Okay. Sam is thinking it's somewhere in that price range. Red Dave, you're going to give us the next one here.
Yeah, without looking at the pitchers, I would probably say the Dodgers will be a favored. I think on average, I think Sam's about right. It should be about minus 125 here, maybe minus 120.
All right, and Knish, we didn't forget about you. You know this line. They always say Knish knows the Dodgers. Where's the price at?
I'm on a heater, and these are my Padres, baby. We're taking this. We took the last night's game. We're taking this series. We're taking the division all the way. I'll say Dodgers. Again, I don't know the pitching matchup offhand. I'll say Dodgers minus 110. And if it's any more than that, I'll be taking my Padres tonight because it's all Padres this season, baby.
All right, let's lock in those bets, and the guys here in the studio can put up our actual bet, which is a price of minus 130. Now, who got that one right?
Too
That's
steep.
Sam.
All right, Sam, you know what? You were the closest. You taking this bet or no chance in hell?
Oh, I'm not taking that bet. I'm not taking that bet. The La Jolla, the La
all
Jolla
right.
fathers are doing big things.
Now let's round this one out with one more bet for the show, and let's go check out what's happening in the NBA and with a player prop. Kemba Walker for the Celtics to score less than 20.5 points tonight against the Heat. So I guess we're going to see how confident you guys are in Kemba. And Red Dave, you actually ended up taking this bet without us knowing, which is hilarious. But the price you got this at and the price we got it at are a little bit different. So this one's going to be close. Red Dave, around noon Eastern today, where do you think this line was?
I have no idea. It looks like I cheated somewhere. I would say it's about minus 115.
We'll see soon if you just had that bet in your head already, Dave. Knish, go ahead and give us your price.
I'm a little steeper here. Kemba's been not showing out too much. They've been giving Tatum and Brown a lot of the volume. I'm gonna say minus 140. If it's that cheap for Dave, I'm gonna place him under there with him here because Kemba hasn't been getting the shooting volume in the last few games here. They've been giving it to the young guns who've been playing a lot better. So.
All right, and for the very last round of the money line is right. Sam, what you got?
I think I'll go minus 112 here. I think the books might think Kemba's going to get some run here. He had a tough series against Van Vliet and Lowry, being the defensive dogs that they are. They might lean a little bit toward having a favorable matchup against Goran Dragic and guys like that. So I think they might give Kemba a little bit of a leeway here to get that easy over 20.5. I'll go minus 112 with a player's 12.
All right, there we go. Now let's take a look here and see what the actual price is set on at DraftKings. We've got minus 127 for Kemba to pull less than 20.5 points tonight. And who was the closest on that?
I think if we go, what was it? I'm minus one, so I was 13 cents off. They were.
I recommended it, so I think it was me.
Whew.
All right, Dave, we're going to give this
I
one
know
to
it
you
wasn't
guys.
me. That's all I know. I know it wasn't me.
Courtesy one. Come on.
All right, well, there you go.
Dave's
Thanks
not
for
getting one.
playing
I'm
along,
taking two
gentlemen.
there.
Thank you guys for playing along. Now we have just one more very important thing to cover today, and that, of course, is our best bets. This is going to be the absolute best bets from each of the guys. Doesn't matter what game, sport, prop, whatever, we get the number one bet each of our analysts has this week. The one they're taking, no matter what. And Knish, you are up first. Put your money where your mouth is. Got some more MLS for us this week?
Amanda, I'm going to get your money back. I know you owe me a couple dimes now after the money line game, so get your money back here. I'm going actually NFL. We're going to jump on a total early. Packers-Lions over. Grab some 47.5 today. I still see some 48, some 48.5 around. Lions down their top three corners, most likely. They might get one back, but they're going to be very, very thin in the secondary. Again, Aaron Rodgers looked crispy at one. Going home. The offense looked fantastic. Lions offense, also a nice performance. I think this total ticks up where you're going to see 49.5, 50, maybe potentially even low 50s if it steams up a little more on the injury report. But I would get in right now. Lions, Packers over. Best number you can find, 48, 48.5.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Knish. We will get the update on how that one pans out next time you're on. Sam D, you're up next, man. Where are you putting the smart money?
We're going to go down to the bubble in Orlando. The bubble's been very good to me over the last 4 or 5 weeks here, getting some extra cachet. So I'm going to go back down to that bubble again. I'm going to go Jimmy Butler, points and assists, 24.5. I'm going to take that over. With Jimmy being game one, we know what he did last series against Giannis, the Nigerian freak in the Bucks. Look for him to go again, make himself known, assert himself early and often. Tough defensive matchup against Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But Jimmy Butler, the ability to get to the line and being able to work off the double teams, if he gets that, to swing the ball around to a Dragic, to a Duncan Robinson, to a Tyler Hero. I think points, assists together, 24.5. Take the over for Jimmy Butler and the Heat down in the bubble in Orlando.
We'll look out for that. And then to Red Dave, you haven't gotten to close the show in a while out here. Take us home.
All right. Well, I'm going to go to one of the later plays in the bubble, and it's coming from the Clippers and the Nuggets game. I really think that old Doc Rivers might shake things up here, might play some guys a few minutes or more minutes. The guy I've had my eye on for a while is Ivica Zubac, who is the center for the Clippers. He's been, I wouldn't say able to shut down Joker, but I think he's a guy that's going to have to be in there maybe for 35 minutes tonight to have a shot. If Harold doesn't step it up, if Jamike doesn't step it up, you could see Zubac start to get some serious minutes if he stays out of foul trouble. And for that reason, with everything on the line, I like his shot to play big minutes. So let's go 19.5 over on the points, rebounds, assists. I think it's maybe not the best bet, but I think he's got a real shot to get 22, 23 here.
Some nice multi-sport coverage there from our analysts. Thank you for that, gentlemen, and thank you all of you at home for watching. Enjoy all of that info and all of those bets. That is going to be all we have for you guys on this episode. But if you need more, or you need literally anything else up your sports betting game, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Line Sniper HQ, and you can find it there. Join us once again on Thursday at 4:30 Eastern for even more in the best sports betting insight and expert picks. But that's all for now. This has been In The Crosshairs, brought to you by LineSniper.com, your definitive resource for sports betting content and in-game analysis. For the team here in the studio, I am Amanda Tannen. Thank you for watching.